What's going on, YouTubers? Femento here, back again for another video. Thank you for tuning in. Today it is time for my long overdue, unscripted, spoiler-filled review of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. The reason why it has taken me so long to get this review done is because I just recently moved, unpacking stuff. I had to work a few days. I've just been really tired. But regardless of all that, I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. And yes, today it is finally time I do so. So yeah, let's begin. As I mentioned before, it's unscripted and spoiler-filled, so if you don't want to be spoiled during this review, then I recommend you click out of it right now. If you don't care, then onward we go. So I'm going to point out the things that I like, the things that I hate, and an overall verdict. So first things first, the things that I like. I thought that the soundtrack was honestly damn near perfect. I think that Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL did a fantastic job of incorporating lots of different types of music into the themes of each character, really embodying the attitude and emotions of each character very well. Obviously, Superman's theme from Man of Steel being brought back was fantastic, although not used as much as it should have been. But I just thought that, again, the music was just great. Some of the best I've heard in a superhero film to date. Hans Zimmer, again, one of the greatest movie composers out there today, and it's just nice to see him continue to provide us with great superhero fanfare. So yeah, that was fantastic. The casting I thought was really good. I think that Ben Affleck was a great Batman. I know a lot of people were kind of criticizing that casting choice. I was always kind of optimistic about it, but in this film, I think that was honestly no problem. I liked his Batman. I liked his Bruce Wayne. I know he's very passionate about it. He got beefed up for the role. He's a big guy. And you could see it. You could see that he cares about this character, and you could see that he put a lot of work in. And let's not confuse, I don't want anyone to be confused that I liked the Batman in this film. I liked Ben Affleck as Batman, but I don't like how Batman was written into this film. We'll dip into that into the cons in just a little bit. But yeah, again, the casting was great. Henry Cavill, great as Superman, one of the best casting choices in any superhero film, in my opinion. He is just perfect for the role. Amy Adams is great. Jeremy Irons as Alfred Pennyworth, I thought was great. It was a different type of Alfred. He's more hands-on, more gritty. I liked that. He was cool. So it was nice seeing him play that role, kind of similar to what Michael Caine did, but adding sort of an edge to it, making him a bit different, but still keeping the character true to what he really is. And I thought that was nice. It was nice seeing Alfred not just some frail butler. It was cool seeing him more badass and more just, he was cool. I like Jeremy Irons is a great actor, and it's just cool seeing him as Alfred. What else? I'm trying to think. There are a few scenes that I really liked, but I'm probably going to point them out later on. But overall, I think that's pretty much it. Honestly, the soundtrack was probably the most enjoyable thing out of this entire film. And that's not saying much for a 2.5 hour long film. So I think we're off on a bad start when it comes to the verdict. So yes, things I did not like, the dislikes, the cons. Wow, this is a long list. I think I'm just going to go ahead and start with the big one. The thing that just bothered me the most. There are two things that bothered me a lot during this film. And number one, out of everything, has to be the pacing and the overall tone of this film. Just the editing in general, I thought was just a disaster. It is so lackluster. Some scenes are just completely out of place. One scene's over here, this scene's over here. That's where they should be, but they're really like right here. That was completely messed up. There's some scenes in this film that just don't need to be in the film at all. Just completely out of place. Stuff that just doesn't make sense. Just the tone, just everything just didn't feel right. Nothing flowed correctly. And I don't know if that has to do with Zack Snyder as a director or the producers or editing or whatever, but it just was not done correctly. I feel like that really made the film suffer in the end. So I just really didn't enjoy that at all. Again, I'm probably going to point this con out a lot during all the things that I dislike, because I think that is the main source of all of the problems throughout the entire film. The second thing that I didn't like, that I actually hated, I just absolutely hated this part of the film, and that is Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Terrible, terrible casting. Now, I have no problem with Jesse Eisenberg. I love him in The Social Network as Mark Zuckerberg. I loved him in Zombieland. There's a few other films, independent films that he's done that I actually really enjoyed. But he's just not good in this role at all. It looks like he's just phoning it in, just playing this goofy, silly, eccentric, it just doesn't make sense at all. He's going at this role, with the Jim Carrey Riddler sense of mind, and it just doesn't work for this character. You know, Lex Luthor should have more gravitas, more Shakespearean flow, but he's just this goofy guy, and he's just a spaz, and it doesn't make sense that this character is a multi-billion, billionaire, in charge of a multi-billion-dollar company. It's hard to wrap your head around that. Like, how does this guy lead a company like this? He's just such a spaz. And I just really didn't like his character at all. His motivations were never really shown at all. He was just weird. It didn't work at all. Like, the characters, it just doesn't fit with the rest of the movie. Like, that's not the tone of the movie. It's not silly and weird. It's just more serious and boring, I guess, is the word I want to use. But him in this film just completely makes it out of whack. And again, goes back to the pacing, goes back to the tone. Nothing works together. Nothing fits right. Just the puzzle pieces are all over the place. And he's just absolutely horrible in this role. I think that is one of the most cringeworthy performances I've seen in quite some time. Definitely one of the most cringeworthy scenes I've seen in a superhero film. The next thing I didn't enjoy, and this is more of a sad one, is just Henry Cavill's character Superman in this film completely. Like, he's just not in the movie as much as he should be. I mean, I know it's called Batman v Superman. I knew that we were going to get a lot of Batman. I think even Zack Snyder has mentioned before that this is it is a Batman film, and that's fine. But when the film is called Batman v Superman, I'm expecting a lot of Superman as well, and he just really isn't in the film very much. There's hardly any action scenes of him. He has very few lines. He doesn't say much. One of the coolest scenes in the movie, during the court, the city court or whatever, when they're questioning Superman and the bomb goes off, that was a very well-crafted scene. I liked it. Scoot McNairy's character being damaged during the Battle of Metropolis. Him in the wheelchair, Lex Luthor putting the bomb on there, I thought was really cool. No one really saw it coming. I didn't see it coming. And then Mother's peach tea there on the stand, I thought that was really well crafted, and I thought it worked really well. I was like really happy how that scene turned out. But Superman, as he flies in, I was expecting him to give this speech about his motives, about why he's doing this, about who he is, where he's come from, and what he's trying to do for the greater good of the world, the greater good of Metropolis. He doesn't say a damn thing. The place blows up, and he has this pissed face. You see the emotion. You see that Henry Cavill is a great actor. There's no problem with Henry Cavill in this role at all. It's just the character was not written well at all. There was no emotion to his character, and it really doesn't pay off towards the end of the film. And I'll mention that later. It just didn't flow at all. I just did not. I loved Henry Cavill as Superman in Man of Steel. Now, I liked Man of Steel. I didn't think it was a fantastic film, but I liked him. I thought he was the best part about the film, and just seeing that not carry over into this film was very, very disappointing, because I'm a big Superman fan. I love Superman. I loved him as a kid. Everyone loves Superman, and he's just such a boring, bland, kind of dull character in this film that has very few lines, that just doesn't really have a personality, and that's just extremely sad. That is so sad to me. The next thing with Batman's character, I mentioned that Ben Affleck was great as Batman, but Batman in this film isn't the Batman that I wanted to see in this film. He kills people, and I'm okay with them changing things that aren't in the comics. I'm okay with them altering things. It's a new story. It's a new take. I get that. But when you take away a key essential element from a character, it kind of starts not making sense. You can't do that. You can't change a character completely from what it originally was, because then it's just not the character anymore. And I don't know if it's that drastic, but when Batman kills people, that's his code. That's what he does. He doesn't kill people. He doesn't take lives. He tries to save lives. And he's just wasting people in this movie. You see the Batmobile, driving around, and it has a .50 caliber, assault rifle on the hood, and it's just blasting away at people. Those people are dying. Batman is killing these people, and it's just, I don't know. They never deliberately say, yeah, I kill people. He never says that, but you see it pretty clearly. And that kind of dips into another complaint, that this film really isn't for children. And I'm okay with a mature story, but I think that it does still have to appeal to kids, because they're superheroes. They're Batman and Superman. With Marvel, and I know a lot of people say Marvel's kiddie and silly and colorful, but it really isn't. They deal with very serious things in the Marvel Universe. They just always still make it appeal to adults and children very, very perfectly, in my opinion. But this film is just so dark and bleak and so just, oh man, drudgingly boring that it just really wouldn't appeal to my 10-year-old self. Like, I would never want to watch this if I was 10. And to me, that should be the target audience. Is, you know, it's Batman and Superman. Come on, really? The next thing, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Now, I didn't hate Gal Gadot per se. She doesn't really do much in the film. She has one action scene, and she looks pretty good as Wonder Woman. Although I wish she wore pants. I feel like that they could have given her pants. That skirt is just a little bit too short, in my opinion. Again, it doesn't really appeal to children. I wouldn't want my, 10-year-old son seeing, a lady trancing around in her underwear fighting bad guys. It's just not practical either. Come on, put some pants on. Seriously. But I have no problem with her character, but again, just so many things are shoehorned in this film, and she was one of the big things that were shoehorned into this film. It just didn't make sense. She came out of nowhere. It's so stupid to me. And her whole story trying to get this picture that Lex had, why would she try to get that picture if no one even knows who she is in the first place? It just, again, doesn't make sense at all. Maybe we'll get more light on that in the Wonder Woman film next year. It's going to be interesting to see Gal Gadot lead a film. I mean, she wasn't terrible in this film, but she wasn't great. The lines that she delivered were sort of stale at some points, and it's going to be interesting to see how that pays off, how that plays out into the Wonder Woman film. Doomsday in this film, just a complete disaster, just a giant CGI disaster. He looks ugly. He's one of the ugliest CGI monsters I've ever seen on film. Just how Lex created him didn't really make sense and was really stupid. It was just really far-fetched. Like, they were really diving deep into, like, science fiction with that one. Again, the tone all over the place, doesn't really have a specific tone. They're taking elements of so many different genres, and then there's this crazy, like, Lex Luthor's cutting his hand and, like, sacrificing his blood to... It just was weird. It was so weird and out of place. And, like, it makes you think, this is a superhero movie, and you have this character cutting himself, and he's, like, crying while he's... It was just whack. It was so weird how this character came about, and he was just such an ugly character. It didn't really make sense how Batman brought him to Gotham to get the spear, the kryptonite spear. That was weird. Why would he bring him to Gotham if, the main reason why he hates Superman is because he destroyed half of Metropolis, so he's just going to do the same thing to Gotham? Like, that didn't make sense at all. The cameos, like the Easter eggs in this film of Flash and Cyborg and Aquaman, they kind of looked cool, in my opinion, but again, shoehorned in, doesn't really make sense. There's just like little files on the LexCorp website or something. It seems like that would be a lot harder to get a hold of than just having it there. And they have like logos for each of them. Like, let's click on the Flash logo and watch the Flash video. I thought that was so lazy and just so mishandled. Like, that did not make sense. Why would they be there? It was just, oh my goodness, that was so weird. Again, they didn't look terrible. I kind of like seeing the Flash. I like Ezra Miller. I think that is a very unique casting choice. I'm looking forward to the upcoming Flash film. I love the Flash TV series, and I hope they do something very different. It looks like they're going to be doing that. The nightmare scene with Batman in what it looks to be like a destroyed Metropolis. It looks like a desert, like Mad Max all of a sudden. Looked awesome because we've never seen Batman in that kind of environment in any film at all. So it was cool seeing it, but again, doesn't have any place in this film. Parademons dropping down. We're talking about Darkseid here. It was so out of place. It was almost cringeworthy at some points, that the pacing was just so off. Again, everything goes back to that one problem, is that the film was just not put together correctly. There were just so many scenes that did not need to be there. This film should have been 30 minutes shorter. It really should have been. It was just too long. There's too much crammed in, and that's the exact problem that everyone was having with the trailers. Everyone was saying it looks like there's too much, and then the optimistic people were like, nah, you'll see, they'll put it all together, they'll intertwine it just great. And no, they do not. They do not do that. This film is such a lackluster, just a collection of lackluster scenes just meshed together so poorly. But there are some scenes that are good. I mentioned the courthouse scene, which was really, really cool in my opinion. I thought it was pretty well crafted. I like one of the first scenes in the film with Henry Cavill and Amy Adams when she's in the bathtub. Not because she's in the bathtub. That's not why the scene was great, but just that scene felt very heartfelt, in my opinion. I really liked that relationship, but then again, the scene was good, but they don't do anything with that relationship in the entire film. Again, Superman being so boring, and Lois Lane being pointless in this film, it just didn't really make a difference at all. I liked the scene. I thought it was nice. It was cool to see that relationship being further developed from Man of Steel. But again, they just kiss a couple times. He flies away. He's depressed. That's it. That's their entire relationship. And I think he saves her like a total of 5 times in this movie. And it makes you think like, wow, like Lois Lane, Amy Adams is literally just playing the damsel in distress. And they try to give her this storyline with the bullet and everything, but it's stupid. Like no one really cared. Just wasted potential. So yeah, I can keep naming things that I didn't like about this film. Lex Luthor was just one of the worst things. God, I keep thinking about that. Just, oh man, it's just overbearing. There's good scenes, but they don't matter because they're not put together correctly. Batman had some cool scenes, some cool action scenes. That Batmobile scene of him chasing down those cars, that truck was fantastic. That's Batman. Him coming in to save Martha Kent, I thought was really, really well done. Him kicking ass the way Batman should kick ass. But that scene didn't make sense, because why is he saving Superman's mother? Why is this happening? This doesn't make sense. Why did they stop fighting just because his mother has the same name as Bruce's mother? That was so stupid. That was so dumb. It just didn't make any sense. I didn't like how Superman's motive to fight Batman was only because Lex had, Martha Kent captive. Oh my goodness. Oh. I thought that should have been handled better. I feel like Lex's character really shouldn't have been in the film at all. I felt like that they could have dealt with it a little more politically and more, just more well crafted. It feels like a cartoon. It really does. But it has a serious tone. But oh my goodness. Okay, I'm just kind of going on a rant here. The overall verdict, the film is bad. It is a very bad film, and I don't think you need me to tell you that. You've seen the Rotten Tomato reviews. If you've been on Facebook or Twitter for the past couple of days, you know this film sucks. People are salty about it. People are so salty about it, and understandably so. Very, very understandably so. But the main reason I don't like this film is not because it's not that good. I mean, yeah, because it is, but it's just so much potential there. You have a great cast. I mean, even Jesse Eisenberg is a good actor, but he was just used horribly. You have Ben Affleck, who's a great actor, but his Batman is not that cool. You have Henry Cavill, who's fantastic as Superman, but Superman is literally not even in a third of the movie. He's such a minuscule character. It's just nothing pays off. It is wasted potential. And I'm so sad. It makes me so sad. And they kill off Superman at the end. And to me, this is the part where I was just so disappointed. This is what made me depressed as I walked out of the theater, is they kill him off at the end, and yet I felt nothing. I felt absolutely nothing because they do jack shit with the character during the entire film. So there's no build-up to that death scene. There's no build-up to that funeral scene. Because why would you care if the character's barely even in the film in the first place? It was just so poorly handled. And why is he even being killed off in the second film in this DC universe? They're rushing this thing so much to get to a grander story that it's just not working. I'd rather have it go very, very slow and have a carefully crafted story than just having, let's go to the Justice League very quickly and let's just screw around with the lore and mess around with these beloved characters. And it just doesn't pay off. It's such a disappointing film because of that, because it should have been great. This should have been the defining chapter in the DCU. This should have been the best part about these characters. This is the movie that you should be looking back on. When Justice League comes out, you can look back on this film and say, damn, that was a good film. But you can't do that because this was not a good film. If I had to give it a score, I think I would give it a 4.5 out of 10 because it was just so disappointing. It should have been so much better. And this really, to me, goes into Zack Snyder as a director. I cannot stand Zack Snyder as a director. I don't like 300. I didn't really like Watchmen, and I kind of liked Man of Steel. He's such a visual director, and the visuals in this film are great. They're fantastic. There's some scenes that are so intricately crafted that look so nice, but it doesn't matter because there's no storytelling whatsoever. So I don't like Zack Snyder as a director. I never did, and I hope to God that WB, Warner Brothers, takes him off of Justice League. I do not want to see a Justice League film directed by Zack Snyder. Honestly, the saving grace, everything is relying on Suicide Squad, which comes out in the summer. I love David Ayer as a director. End of Watch and Fury are fantastic action films, and I pray that that film will actually be good and give me hope in this universe that they're building. Because right now, I don't see anything worth value at all. So, yeah, 4.5 out of 10. Comment below. Let me know what you think of this film. Do you disagree with me? Do you think this film is good? And if you do enjoy this film, more power to you. I'm really glad that you found enjoyment out of it. It makes me happy that people can find enjoyment out of things that I don't like. I like when they point out things that are good about a film that I don't like, and I can kind of see it too. So yeah, comment below. Give me your thoughts on this film itself. Give me your little mini review down there. I'd love to read it. Like this video if you enjoyed anything that I had to talk about. I really, I like doing reviews like this, so hit that like button and it lets me know if I should do more. I would love to do more reviews on comic book movies. Civil War is just around the corner. And then, of course, we have Suicide Squad as well. So, yeah, hit that like button. Subscribing helps me out even more. I greatly appreciate it. So, you could do that. Yeah. Follow me on Twitter at Fumincho7. I post a lot of stuff regarding this channel, just updates on upcoming videos. Plus, everything revolving around anime, manga, video games, film, and all that jazz. So, yeah. Again, thank you for watching. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.